He says at night, he keeps a little notebook and he takes notes on the thoughts that comes to him after he's been writing for the day. His mind is still going. And so he jots down those notes in a notebook because a lot of times it keeps him up at night. He can't sleep. But here's the interesting thing. He says he doesn't take the notes in order to remind himself to put the ideas that he's having back into his book. He says he takes the notes just to get them out of his head. And he says he just tosses them the next day. They won't be used for anything. For me, this almost hurt. Does anybody else almost feel like a physical pain when you hear that? Like, why would you do that? What if one of those ideas is great? What if one of those ideas is perfect? This was actually a relief for me to hear because I can obsess about losing what I might think is that perfect idea. If I'm driving down the road and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got this idea. I don't want to lose it. What do I do? What do I do? Sometimes so many ideas are coming at me so fast. There's no way that I can capture all these. And I stress about it. It causes me severe anxiety. I'm never going to remember all these things. And the anxiety builds up so much to where it literally puts me in the fight or flight response. And I end up avoiding the project altogether. I'm overwhelmed. I've got all these ideas. I'm losing half of them. They're flying out the window. Paulo says he just takes the notes to get them out of his head. Doesn't worry about it. The important stuff will resurface during his writing time. And if it doesn't, he says it didn't need to be included. It sounds scary. It sounds almost reckless, doesn't it? It sounds almost like, well, what if he did capture him? Maybe his books could even be that much better. But who am I to argue with a best-selling author who's producing way more stuff than I ever have produced or hope to produce? It must work. We shouldn't stress so much about capturing every little note or idea that pops into our head. Maybe it's more beneficial to just get it out of our head, to clear our head. That way, when we do start our next writing session, we have a clear head.